but let me know when you're rolling.
Almost there.
Okay.
I didn't want to hit go live until like we're ready to really go live. Okay. There we go.
Okay. All right, I will call this meeting to order. I'm just going to announce now that we have had 2 resignations from the Sebago School Committee. One, we announced at our last meeting, that was Tina Vaness. We have also lost Justin for real. He had too many conflicts with his family commitments, and so he decided the best course of action was to resign. So for roll call tonight, Joe McMahon.
Here.
Wendy Newcomb.
Here.
Danelle Allen. Here.
Gotcha.
Okay. So let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And that was that effective immediately?
Yes,
Okay.
yes it is. Okay, agenda adjustments. David.
Thank you. So I would like to add an agenda item approving the hire of Ben Brosh, who joins us as a part-time special education teacher.
Okay.
So if we could add that under action items,
So we'll make it E.
great. And then I would also ask under action items, a review of the 2021-22 school calendar with possible revision. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, are we voting on agenda adjustments?
You normally do.
Okay,
I'll make a motion
yes.
to make agenda adjustments
As aforementioned.
as aforementioned.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to appoint 2 people to the school committee. Per our policy is PE, I think.
I believe so.
Okay. We have reached out to Chris Carrier and to Maggie Williams. And they have both said that they would be willing to accept an appointment to the school committee. So can I have a motion to appoint them?
So moved.
Thank you, Joe.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Wendy. Any discussion?
I'm just really happy to have 2 parents on board. Yay.
What would terms
Yay.
be to know?
What?
The terms?
I need to talk to Michelle about the terms because I'm not sure. I believe we fall under the same cycle that the town of Sebago
So,
has for
However
elections.
many months were left on the 2.
No, I think you're gonna have to take out papers and run in June.
Until the next
So,
municipal.
next
yeah,
June.
until the
Next
next
town
town
election.
election, which would be June. So that would be that. Any further discussion? All in favor? Yeah.
Great. And
So Maggie and Chris, I welcome you to come join us as non-voting members tonight. The next piece of business you girls will have to do is go up to the town office and see Maureen and get sworn in. Okay. Welcome. So, minutes of our previous meeting. Anybody have anything other than what we've already given Alan for changes? Here,
A couple of extra ones.
these can go too, because, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so seeing
Another-
no more amendments
Thank
needed,
you.
have a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting as amended.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting as amended.
Okay,
Second that.
okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All right. You're up to public comments on agenda.
Just one thing, the minutes from last week. Joe, I still need a copy of the appeal paperwork or the language, so I can put it in the minutes from last week. And if you have it electronically, just send it to me.
I have the whole thing that was filed, and it should be public record, I'm guessing,
Is it a huge thing?
from Dan, so
Mhm.
let me see. I think it's just a few pages.
Okay, is it something that you want included as part of the minutes from last time, or I could just reference it?
I think, my suggestion would be that the motion,
You know,
in the agenda is what's recorded. And then reference that appeal has been filed.
and that'll, okay, then I don't need a copy.
Okay, and we'll keep a
All right.
copy here on
There is a
file,
copy
so,
here.
okay, and
And I'll
then the
get you
town has a
a
copy.
copy. It's gonna be laborious to do the minutes from the meeting last week. Oh,
I know it was such a tough
days and
meeting.
weeks probably.
I've never been to a 3-minute school committee.
It's gotta be some kind of
It
record.
was a record.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any public comments on agenda items? I do. Okay. Seeing none. Do we have a presentation or report?
Not
this
tonight.
evening? So we are up to principal's report.
Okay, I can't remember where I can stand. Oh, I could actually just sit there, but I won't. All right, so there isn't a whole lot to say. Except COVID. We have really appreciated the holiday break, but since then, it's been a rough couple of weeks. On top of the ever-changing CDC and DOE COVID protocols and guidance, which were confusing and frustrating for everyone, we had several students not return from break right away due to illness. We had a few more go out the first week after pool testing revealed 2 positive pools. Then last week, we had 3 positive pools, had more students and a staff member who had contact with all of our students go out. These test results meant it was best for all students to be remote for the remainder of the week. We'd like to thank those parents that we had to call to come in for the quick Binex testing, to coming into school on the days when they were remote. You know, the whole thing was inconvenient for everybody, but that was an extra inconvenience for them, so we appreciate them coming in. On Friday, a teacher tested positive, and today another one tested positive. All of our positive cases can be directly traced back to outside contacts and are not the result of being in school. It's really important for people to understand. Even though Monday was a holiday, we will be doing pool testing tomorrow. And we are hoping for quick results and no positive pools. This is our dream for now.
Right.
That's all I got, because that's all we have focused on since we returned.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Chairwoman's report. So our attorney, our school's attorney, has filed the appeal to the Zoning Board of Appeals in Sebago. I've read through it. It sounded like he did a really good job of writing that up, because I've read through some of the other people in town who have filed appeals, and it was right up there with a lot of those. So yay, we got that done. The special town meeting, the reason we're meeting tonight and not the 4th Tuesday is because next Tuesday is the special town meeting at the Potter Gym, which is also known as the Old Town Hall. And it will be at 6 o'clock. And as many people as possible, hopefully will get out to vote because we're voting on a moratorium extension, I believe. The two things we're voting on. I can't remember what the other one is.
Well, the moratorium extension is expected. They haven't put out a agenda yet, so.
Okay. So that is the update. And I think it was probably well worth the money to have Dan prepare that appeal for us. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually read this one, so the classes are going on. Apologize to the viewing public. So I'd really like to welcome our new special educator, Ben Brash. He will work 2 days a week as a teacher and 3 days a week as an Ed Tech 3. His first day, which was today, we gave him a warm Sebago welcome as we immediately brought him down to the kindergarten classroom to take over for a teacher who had to leave because our children.
I hope you warned him.
I have spent part of a day with Ben, and he strikes me as a calm, mature, upbeat person. And we really look forward to him joining the team. It's an opening we've had since July 1st. And we've made 3 offers, and hopefully third time's a charm. I'm really looking forward to Ben being with us. In addition, we had a resignation. Our evening custodian resigned before the long weekend.
Before
Yeah.
returning from break.
Never came back from break.
No.
Never came back from break.
Right.
But we're fortunate that Lulu Joe was available and willing to rejoin us as our evening custodian. So no training needed. Lulu is here. And I will say that my room was vacuumed for the first time in a long time the day she started. So really looking forward to having Lulu here. And in addition, we've been trying to find somebody to help us cover the pre-K classroom for a day a week and just do some fill-in for us on a very limited basis. And we welcome April Mabaher, I think is her
I
name.
think so.
P-H-A-E-R, it's a hyphen.
Yes, yeah.
But April's joining us as an Ed Tech 1. She'll be working a day or so a week to help out with our pre-K students needing special education.
Special education, you're right. Yeah.
Great. All right. So I'm going to hand out a budget timeline that was shared with the finance committee of the committee. You can see we're trying to get budget in place.
I have that at home, so it's okay.
We're trying to get the budget in place early so that we can get the school committee voting on that in mid-March at our March meeting, and then bring it to the town at the end of May, and the voters in the middle of June. As I've shared with the finance committee and others, we're going to build a budget that supports all of our learners, supports our educators, and is as responsive to the community as we can make it. There are some areas that have needs that we need to address, and we will present it that way. And I look forward to the committee working with us around the budget. And believe it or not, budget was good news. I'm going to build on what Kirsten shared. So we had 3 remote days last week. Short notice. I know that is a hardship on parents and students. I made the decision to go remote when a staff member who had interacted with all the students in the school over a couple of days tested positive. It was in the health and safety best interest. And I don't make that decision lightly. I know that there were people who were upset about that. I completely understand it. I had a family member who tested positive, and I experienced the isolation, the quarantine, and the disruption. I know what it's like. We hope that we can be much more targeted. As Kirsten said, we've had a couple of staff members who have tested positive, but we've this week limited our remote education to the specific classes, and to the extent possible, we're bringing in substitute teachers to work with our students in person. So that's especially true with kindergarten. Our youngest learners are least able to learn remotely. We know that. We're doing everything we can to keep the kindergarten students in during this period. Kirsten's working with staff to reassign. We have some staff members who stepped up and volunteered to spend time in the classroom as a substitute. And we've reassigned other staff. So I just want to recognize how disruptive remote education is. It is not our goal. We only do it when we feel it's in the best interest of the health and safety of our students and staff. So we will do our best to communicate to everybody involved in a timely way. And we're all hoping that this is the wave that we look back on and say, that was rough, but now we're in a different place. And this is just a brief preface to the second agenda item that I asked for. You've heard from our staff, you've heard from our principal, you've heard from me. This year continues to be more challenging than any of us could have planned for based on COVID. We looked forward to a year of in-person learning with all of our students back, and the reopening protocols that the committee approved, and anticipated a normal school year, as normal as possible. Even with the recent reduction in our quarantine time for close contact or non-symptomatic individuals who tested positive, we're experiencing more disruption than we've ever experienced before at Sebago Elementary School. We have had an incredibly small number of full class days from pre-K to 5th grade over the course of this first half of the year. When we have a student out, it impacts what the classroom teacher does in the class that day, and it impacts the student who's missed school coming back. The school has wisely adopted programs in math, our everyday math program, in literacy, the literacy footprints, and in that foundational phonics development, our Jolly Phonics program. We have been struggling to deliver those programs as designed. With so many students out on a regular basis and in a rotating way, it becomes almost impossible to deliver full class instruction. And the remote packets, while continuing student learning, cannot replace best first practice in the classroom. We're going to ask that the committee consider adding 3 additional early release Wednesdays starting next week, continuing through up to our February break, so that we can better prepare for managing students in person, managing students who are remote, and managing staff who might go remote. So I'll talk more about that during the discussion, but I just want everyone to know that this year continues to be the most challenging year in education that I've experienced. And it's taking its toll. We've surveyed staff, it's taking its toll on our staff. And we know from our students learning that we're not going to hit that high plateau we thought we were in line for. So I look forward to continuing this as the action item rolls out later in the agenda. That's my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are up to action items. Policy revision, first read, student code of conduct. I'm looking for a motion to accept that as a first read.
So move.
Second it?
Any discussion? Saying none, all in favor?
Okay.
And I just want to say for that one, when we get to it next meeting, there has been a change in state law, which is driving this policy revision, which will then drive revision of our student code of conduct.
B is the 21-22 school calendar. Oh, it is.
Hey, it's already in there.
Oh, it's already. in there. So we don't. need it
Excellent.
down below. All right.
So, sharing the committee approved calendar. And requesting that the committee consider adding an early release day, Wednesday, January 26th. Wednesday, February 2nd. And Wednesday, February 16th. For the reasons previously mentioned, the time spent as educators working on preparing how to better manage the classroom when students are present and some are out, how better to manage our remote learning time, and how better to plan for that worst case scenario of staff member being out either with or without a substitute. We believe that this is timely. I don't ask lightly. I know the school calendar was thoughtfully developed, and I know early release Wednesdays impact our community members and our family members. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was the best thing for us right now.
Joe?
The February calendar shows an early release day currently on
Oh,
The
Monday.
7th.
the 7th. Is that still on?
We'd ask to keep that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's also our second clinic.
okay. Just want to be clear.
Yeah.
We didn't substitute it, we're still doing it.
Right.
Okay.
Motion.
Do you have a question,
I
Maggie?
do have a question. I know I'm not allowed to vote on this one, but just something for you guys to think about as a parent, as you mentioned. I understand where you're coming from, that as educators, you guys are trying to plan and do what's best. But to add on, you're basically now having 4 early release days in a row. And for a lot of parents, that's tough. And just, I can understand if maybe you need 1 or 2 extra, but to do that many, it's just something please think about, because there's a lot of parents that don't have access to daycares around here. There's a lot of parents that don't have the grandparents. They have to now get out from work early. They don't have the luxury to just drop what they're doing and say, oh, and it's another early release day. So, I mean, I get it that you guys, you're trying to do its best, but I ask that you think of from that angle too. And also you guys are saying, well, we want more of the kids to be in-face learning. Well, these early release days, you're taking away from that. You're now, instead of them being in school full time, you're now giving them more half days. So just wanted to put that out there.
We need aftercare.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
It would be great.
We will be coming back to that in future
Okay.
meetings. We're gonna get aftercare at some point, hopefully.
Right.
Any other?
Is there a motion?
We need a motion.
I make a motion that we adjust the calendar to reflect early dismissal dates on Wednesdays. The 1, 2, 3 Wednesdays that were proposed.
Second,
Any discussion?
as a thought, there's a release day on the 16th. That's the week before a holiday week. And it basically would only give you 2 days after that. So might we just drop that one?
Well, and you need the one on the 2nd as well. You already have an early release day on that Monday. I can understand if you want to add the 26th of January. Could you do every other week?
What,
Okay.
We want to keep the 7th because we have the clinic. So that we're sort of locked into
Correct.
that.
The Monday.
mhm.
Could that work? That Monday, the 7th, work as one of those early release days? How many people will be involved with the clinic as opposed?
For us, it's an early release day.
Mhm.
So that is, it's not adding. It
Okay,
is regularly scheduled and agendas developed.
Do we know how many families typically, I know like this is a different era with vacations and stuff, but in the past, a lot of times there's not full attendance on a Friday before a vacation. But again, that would be a hard thing to put on teachers to have
right. yeah.
all of that on a Friday afternoon.
Back when we were part of Senate 61, one of the things that we had was the Friday before April vacation, we were off. And it was built into the calendar with that thought in mind. That was often a popular vacation week. And I think we got to use it once.
Yeah.
Because of all
Yeah.
the snow days, it kept getting sucked back in.
Right.
So it never got to be used. But that was a different time.
Right.
Well,
It really was.
would that be a possibility to do that?
So instead of early releases, you're looking, can you just make it the Friday before vacation?
I was kind of on board with the whole early release thing because I think schools everywhere are having to do this.
I
It
would
seems
so,
unavoidable.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
The timeliness of it is we are in the middle of this right now.
Yeah.
It's worse now than it was a month ago. Hopefully it will be better in a month from now. I completely support the committee's decision on this. I completely understand switching a school calendar in the middle of the year. It's not anything that I would ever do without feeling it was really important. I don't think moving to that Friday before vacation fits the need that we've identified. I think that, you know, we're in this right now. We saw this morning that when we have a staff person go out and we don't want to go remote, we're not prepared.
Right.
So it's like we forgot how to leave subplans. So it's you know, 1 would be great, 2 would be great, 3 would be great. This proposal is
What about,
that we do
Yeah.
once a week between now and then.
what about, just as a compromise, because I do understand what you're saying about parents and kids and jobs, and that's really hard. Taking one out, the 16th, because it's right before vacation, would that be what would be the least impact?
That
I'm just asking, okay.
Yeah, as an observation, if you look at March, what you'd be basically saying is that starting on the 2nd, the 16th, you'd be taking a early release day every other week.
through the beginning of March.
So that's why I was asking, you know, if you wanted to keep the January 26th, could you do away with the February 2nd? You've got the Monday early release already. And then I agree, don't do the 16th because it's right before school vacation. And then you do have the one in March again. So that may, I think you would still benefit from it, but it might give families a little bit of a break too, because it's not week after week after week.
Again, I don't want to negotiate
Right.
days. I completely understand. The committee's gonna make a decision.
Right,
Again, if not 3, the week of, the week before February break, 16th would be the one that I would say,
right.
we know where we are right now. We don't know where we'll be then. That would be something, if you wanted to start reducing that or not adding it, that's the one that I would recommend not adding.
And I have another question while we're on the topic, more or less. Is it, last year we had a teacher that just dealt with remote learning only. Does that even fit into the equation?
It's so random.
Is it too random?
I think it's too random the way. that-
Because it worked out so
Well,
well
it did.
last year, because, but
We
that
had
was a,
set number of students.
And she had a
knew who those
curriculum, yeah.
students were,
yeah,
but because of the way COVID is going right now, it's cycling through different groups of people.
right. But, I
That
mean, I'm
sounds-
just wondering if that's a possibility, because that could take off the pressure. Even though the person who has that job would be like jumping all over the place. I
And
don't know.
I don't know that we have the staff available this year.
Well, we'd have to
in
hire
this-
somebody.
Well, in this budget, we don't
Yeah.
have the budget either, which is the other part of that. But we will have to start discussions on next school year and
Mhm.
how, because we need to be prepared. But what does the committee want to do about early release Wednesdays?
Well, I want to go ahead as discussed, but I would like to consider dropping the early release on the 16th.
I
I'm okay with it.
I agree too, and then if it, I mean, just let's see what we get up until that point. In terms of, if that's
To
helpful.
make it clean, you and Wendy need to withdraw your motion, your second, make a new motion if it's gonna be different dates,
Okay,
okay?
Okay. Make a
Condition on
motion
us withdrawing the first pass.
make a motion to withdraw the first motion,
okay.
previous motion.
I
I'll
don't
second
think you
it.
need a motion, just do it.
Okay.
And now I need a new motion.
So make a motion to set the early release dates as described previously, excluding the 16th.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Good, January 22nd and February 2nd.
January 26th.
26th?
Yep.
Yeah, Wednesday, 26th, 22nd.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Glad you gave it straight.
Job description, second reads. Ed Tech 2, Ed Tech 3, and Library Media Ed Tech 3.
These were descriptions that we workshopped last month. They came up for first read. We made some changes around language, but basically the job descriptions describe exactly what those positions do. Language is cleaned up and they're ready for.
I make a motion, we basically, at the second read job descriptions, educational technician 2, 3, immediate educational technician 3, be voted on as a block
And approve?
and approved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Vote to adopt those.
That's what you just did. That they're included in our policy manual. That's into policy.
Job descriptions, first readings, custodian, school bus driver, and van driver. Need a motion to accept those as first reads.
Make a motion to accept the custodial locator, the school bus driver and van driver as a block, and to accept the first reads.
Second it.
Any discussion on those? Seeing none, all in favor? And E would be hiring of Ben Brash.
He would be hiring a Ben Brash. Ben Brash comes to us after a long and interesting career. He has done a variety of things in special education settings, both in schools and in private providers. He has tried to retire, ended up taking some long-term sub jobs because he wanted to be in the school setting. We were happy to see his application come across our desks. We interviewed and hired him, and we recommend him for your approval. That's .4 special education teacher.
So we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Ben Brush as our new special ed teacher.
.4.
Four.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Well, the spelling is in my report.
Yeah, figured. You anticipated, thank you, Dave.
So now we have a discussion item. It's our reopening plan.
We agreed to revisit this on a regular basis this school year. We have gone through half of the school year right now. And we have been following our changing Department of Education and CDC guidelines. The school operations are not anything that has changed. We heard a parent question the golden tickets, I believe, after debriefing with school staff, understands now the value of those, and we've not heard any follow-up related to that. So the quarantine is the biggest area of change. So in the vaccination and quarantine. So the State Department of Ed has not collected staff vaccination data in the last 2 months.
Correct. The last time I think I reported was actually the beginning of November.
think
I had
October's
collected
data.
the information, but yeah.
So we're not sure whether that is no longer being done. But I'm just giving you the heads up that we're not being asked for it. And the contact tracing with the new close contact and quarantine guidelines. I'm gonna say this, and look at Kirsten, I think I'm gonna say it correctly. Because we are a universal mask environment, the quarantine for close contacts in school is no longer an option. individuals are still asked to quarantine outside of school in the community, which is not a universal mask. But no student should be out as a close contact unless there's a family member, a household member who has tested positive. So the detail around contact tracing and quarantining has changed.
Repeat that again.
Kirsten might repeat it in a
So,
clear way.
well, so for kids that are in a classroom that holds, well, all the classrooms will test. If we get a positive pool, we test all the kids that were in that pool to find out who was positive. The kids who did not test have the option to stay in school, whereas before they didn't.
Okay.
What they have to do is it's called the test to stay.
Right, okay.
And with the number of students who have had COVID and who signed up for pool testing, that really only affected 6 kids.
We're up over 90% of people
Yes.
participating in pool testing or in the 90-day
Right.
no test period.
So the since this has happened, and we've had several positive pools, the few kids that would have been affected, I've spoken to those parents and they're like, ooh, test to stay? Yes, please, keep my child.
Okay.
So,
Sure.
and,
Yeah.
and the test, has been able to keep those kids in school. So that has helped to minimize, 1 kid out, 2 kids out, to help with keeping the kids here. Except for the kid who's sick.
We have the test here.
And we have the test here. New shipment came in
They're coming
today.
today?
Yes, it did.
Good, okay.
So, and Kirsten outlined, pool testing over the time that we've been doing it. We've had additional families sign on, for their students to participate. We are at a place now where we feel like the pool testing is giving us good early data. We're able to identify in everyone but one who that person was, I think.
So we've had 2 pools come over the course of the however many, few months we've been doing this. There've been 2 pools that have come back and we haven't been able to identify somebody from it.
Huh.
I think other schools might have higher numbers that happens with, but for us, 2's not bad. However, of all the weeks that we have done this, there's only been 3 weeks where we haven't had a positive pool. And one of those weeks was actually a holiday week, so it doesn't really count.
Right.
So there's only been 2. So we'll see what this week brings.
So at this point, we don't feel there's any action for the committee to take. It's just important for you to stay current. I give you regular updates about what's going on in the school related to COVID. We, again, we hope this is the worst of it and we're in a different place when it comes to February vacation.
Absolutely.
I did have a question.
Yeah.
Just a little more information about the health check ticket, because I have heard parents be concerned about that. And I know lots of schools started with that when we were kind of in the thick of it, and then it kind of went by the wayside. What is the rationale why that's still, like, what purpose does it
Yeah.
serve? Like,
So, very good question, because the answer that we gave to the parent of a pre-K student was very accurate at that point in time. And what we said was, it does a number of things. One, it just gives families pause in the morning. Please don't send your child to school, even if 2 years ago you would have sent them with a runny nose. Just think a little bit this year. And 2, it let us be really efficient with contact tracing. Who took the bus? Who got a ride to school? Who was in a car with another student? It was really easy. There was a very basic system of stacking the golden tickets, and it was really efficient for us. We no longer need the tickets as contact tracing.
So do we still
I was
need
gonna
the
say, so
tickets?
Can we do away
I'm
with
just
the
thinking that
tickets?
might be one way for the parents who are like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna find childcare these Wednesdays? Maybe that would be one good faith gesture, like this is one less thing on your plate,
Well, and I
like,
hate to
could
say it,
we-
It was something that
one
I,
less thing for teachers and administrators to
Right,
have to deal with. One less thing when there's so many extra things.
Be happy to take that out if the committee so chooses.
Do we have to vote on that?
You should vote on it. You
yeah,
voted,
because that
you
was part
voted
of the plan.
on
Yeah.
that.
The original plan.
So
was
you're
to do
gonna,
that.
you basically,
It feels like it's a moot point now to,
It does.
if
Right,
it seems
it
like
does.
it's busy work, it's unnecessary, why burden anybody with it, including,
Right. Well, 'cause I
parents or
think,
teachers?
I think in light of everything, a lot of parents are being more diligent
Sure.
about their kids. And like you said, in the past, yes, they're like, oh, you've got a runny nose, go for it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nowadays, I think a lot of them are being better about it. And like you said, it gives those parents one less thing.
To manage.
Exactly, when you're trying to find masks and everything else in the
I
morning.
know, right?
And you're like, yo, the tickets.
I can't.
Give them the win.
give them a win.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And I do agree, I will share, because normally Chris is here.
Thank you.
But one of the things that she asked when David and I were talking about all these new protocols that were being bombarded at us. She did ask that we keep this for a little while, which is why we had it in here through the end of January, because it is a reminder of what all the symptoms are. And what we have seen from the cases that we have of kids is there's some of the symptoms that not a lot of them had before. It's the vomiting and diarrhea, it's the headache, and it could be a slight headache. And if your kid says that, then that's it. Your kid really needs to stay home. Give us a call, we'll test your child. And she just asked that we keep it in. So I'm relaying her wishes on that.
I wonder if it could be like, if it was decided to do away with them, a letter went home, like put this on your refrigerator. We're trying to take into account all the things that parents are juggling. Please, like, put it on bright paper. I don't know, like, like,
I think that's
Make
sort
it
of
a
the
big
same
goal.
purpose.
like, so like, just be mindful, like, of these ever expanding list of symptoms.
And it's
like-
actually, well, that's the thing. It's the symptom list is changing. So
Well, yeah.
what we have on the golden ticket is really good for what COVID was
Delta.
presenting
What
like
we knew
in
before.
September.
Mhm.
So, if the committee votes to take out that third bullet under school operations, then we will make sure that we send home a communication or communications about symptoms to be on the lookout for.
Yeah,
So, do I hear a motion?
I have a motion to drop the third bullet that's on this attempt to reopen schools, first page.
second,
Okay, any discussion?
Just a happy dance.
I'd just like to have that we can send home, that we don't need to put on the bulletin to send home. Okay, let's do that.
You have our word.
All right, good.
They'll follow
Yeah, so I'll second it.
Okay, so no further discussion? All in favor?
Okay.
There.
Great,
Thank you.
all right.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, you may.
So when it comes to the pool testing, I just, out of curiosity, because I know what you guys are currently doing right now is that you've got every classroom is getting tested and nobody's name is on it. You're just putting it in there. But then if you get a positive test, you gotta retest everybody else. Why are we not tagging them all to begin with, so they only have to do it one time?
So that's the way it works is it's literally a cup. And the kids do this and you drop it all
In the same cup?
in the same
Yeah,
cup.
same cup.
Oh,
So
okay.
nobody knows, literally
Oh,
nobody knows.
okay, I
who
thought it
is
was all
that.
like individual stuff, so I'm like,
No,
why don't we
no,
just
no,
tag
no.
them all to begin
Right,
with?
right.
No, no, no.
Got it.
We have
There's, there's no like wink, wink anonymous. It's really,
No,
it's
okay, well, like
really
this,
anonymous.
Right.
okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And that,
That is a cup.
but,
Holy mackerel.
good clarifying question.
Okay,
Very
well,
good.
that's why I was wondering, 'cause I'm like, well, if they're
I
all individual, it would just be easier to just,
Less
just get, I hate to
resources.
say it, print off a bunch of kids' names and when they come in, you slap it on it and say, here you go, kid.
Yeah.
Because then at least that way you don't have to get the entire class to retest.
Yeah.
Right,
Right,
and that is
right.
a time consuming process
Yeah.
to retest an entire class. But we have to have a minimum of 10 samples in 1-2.
Mhm.
No more than 25. And there are schools that are doing 25 at a whack.
Okay.
We've been fortunate and we've got ourselves pretty well organized so that this is grade 1, that's your tube with however many are in there. And then here's pre-K. Usually pre-K is our smallest group, so that's where we throw all the staff so we can get to our minimum.
Gotcha.
We try to coordinate staff who have kids here to be in their child's classroom so that we don't have that problem.
Okay.
Yep.
Things,
We
logistical
think
stuff.
about the years of education in our graduate level classes where they primed us to be doing this kind of work.
Okay.
Just one question. When will, bullet number 3 on the school operations be removed? As of now, as of end of January? What's the
I was thinking I was
implementation?
gonna send home a letter on Friday and Friday folders.
Okay,
Along with a list of symptoms.
all right.
Yeah.
So effective next week.
Right.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay. So that's all we need to do on the reopening plan.
That is all. That's great.
Okay. Items for future agenda. I'm going to make a suggestion. We start discussion on, I don't want to call it a reopening plan for the 22-23 school year, but it needs to be looked at and you guys will have fun figuring out a plan if we still have to do remote, if we're still dealing with more variants or people are getting sick like this year. Yeah, so that's one thing. So I'm just writing it down as COVID discussion for next school year. And something else I would like us to be working on is special ed.
And
I need to get contact info to you.
so at this point, both instructional plan and special education would be discussion items or report.
Yep.
Informational.
And I'll just say that I had a little brainstorm that I talked to David about. We've been going back and forth on, and Mark was also looking for someone to partner with us. We're small, so with our special education services. And it occurred to me that the agency that I used to work for, NFI North, they do that. I don't know if they partner with public schools at all, but Doghouse Day Treatment is a day treatment school for kiddos with IEPs right in Bridgeton. They just expanded. They are part of NFI North, which services Maine and New Hampshire. They run programs across both states from birth through aging out. So they cover the gamut, but they do have their main office is in Kentucky, New Hampshire. They have the Kentucky School over there, which is, I want to say it's, I could be wrong. I think it services all kiddos with IEPs in whatever form. They also have an experiential education program over there, which is of particular interest to me. I think experiential education is great. But I talked to David about the possibility of I can give him contact info and he can contact the agency and start a discussion, point us in a direction, but we need to expand our special education services because it's a costly budget item. We're small. We never know what the next student who walks through our door and enrolls in school will need. And if we had a partner, it could benefit everybody. So that was kind of my thinking. So I don't know, I'm thinking that perhaps, and I'm dumping this one on you for now, but I want to keep a conversation going because I think it's really important to get to a point where we can be really confident that we're providing the best education possible for our special ed kiddos and that we have a partner to help us do that. Great. Got to think outside the box. So those are two items I have. Does anybody else have anything for future agenda?
Well, I wanted to bring up the possibility of changing the day,
Oh,
the
right.
weekday that, of our school committee meetings. That wouldn't conflict with all of the town meetings that we're having on Tuesdays.
Okay, so that'll be a discussion we can have.
The next
Yeah.
cycle, when we have all of our members have input.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that might be a discussion item for the February meeting.
Great. Anybody have anything else?
Do you wanna, go ahead.
Something a lot of parents have mentioned to me, and this might be the wrong time, but ever thinking about a sixth grade at SES. I just had to say it. I just had to say it.
I have one parent who was like, please,
Yeah.
Yeah.
bring the sixth graders back. That is something that would have to
Yeah.
be discussed.
I mean, it's,
And I'm thinking, I don't know, the committee perhaps at some point, but it is on
The radar.
when we get our long range, our
Capital.
mid-range and our short range goals. Which David is working on for us
For
with
facility and capital.
operations.
Yep.
That was part of what we talked about. And I'll tell you, it wasn't just sixth grade, it was perhaps up through eighth, depending, but that would be like super long range because that's a whole nother ballgame.
Mhm.
And it would require an addition to the school, more staff, more programming,
And
so
we,
it would.
we have a contract with SAD 61, we'd have to look at that too.
So that's
But that would be-
definitely, yeah. That's something I'm gonna add.
Thank you.
But these are all things that had been kind of put on the back burner that now need to be brought forward
Nice.
and actually discussed.
One last thing, this is kind of, but that we could consider having perhaps a workshop this summer again. with
We
the
will
school
definitely
committee.
have a workshop this
Okay,
summer.
because I
And
think it
it'll
was
be a
very helpful.
retreat and a training.
Yeah, it's
And
just a
it's-
day.
Yeah,
But it was
it'll be
well
pleasant.
worth.
Yeah. It'll be,
It will
it's a
be
good time.
pleasant. Good.
It's
Yeah.
pleasant. It's not like, going to the dentist or anything. And for Maggie and Chris, I will be in contact with Steve Bailey, who is the executive director of the Maine School Management Association, and check to see if they have any trainings coming up. Webinars are good, Zoom meetings or whatever, that would be like a boardsmanship 101.
Mhm.
I don't know, do we have handbooks for them?
So
Oh,
we have,
so
if we got
nice.
handbooks back, we
Okay, so
have
we need to get
handbooks.
handbooks.
But this summer, when we met with Steve Bailey, who's the executive director of Maine School Management, he shared with us a packet, there's background material. So the right-hand side are those materials. I put some policies that you should know in there, and sometime before our February meeting, it would be great if you each could like block out 15 minutes or so to call me so I can go over Freedom of Information Act responsibilities for you. There's a paper that you'll sign off on in there along with a policy about it. But I'm happy to talk in person or on the phone, however we can make it work. It's not long, just know that you have no privacy when you're doing board business, committee business.
It's like having kids.
Right?
It's worse than having kids in some ways.
Probably, having a lot of them.
We haven't sworn in yet. Right.
I know.
I was about to speak to him. So he knows you have two new members. I'm happy to share the names if you want with him and make sure we get committee emails and that type of stuff in place.
So we need handbooks, which I'm thinking we should order a couple more handbooks perhaps. Because after a couple of people, they get kind of worn.
Okay.
The other thing is Kathy will need to put together a couple of policy manuals. I'll talk to Justin to get his.
Seals. Yep, great.
Okay.
And Dave, at some point, you or Crystal can get me their email addresses,
Their email, I'll set their email address up tomorrow.
Okay.
On my to-do
so I
list.
can add you guys to the
Yep.
list.
Yes.
Same email address as
Same
everybody
person
else.
as everybody else.
And we should just make sure that the list is current with only members
Right.
now serving. So I think we've done a good job of keeping up to date on that.
Okay. Are there any other thoughts for future agendas? Okay. I didn't write down summer training. Okay, and that takes care of that one. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Yes, we
Oh, yeah.
do.
The same thing,
Claudia?
it was the same thing that Wendy mentioned. With the town hall being open only on Tuesday nights,
Mhm.
and now we have a new committee that will probably morph into another committee. All the Tuesdays are taken up, and I hate to see any public interest split between which meeting shall I go to. So if there's any way that you can move it to like a Thursday or something, that might be beneficial. I don't know what that entails for you guys, so.
We will be discussing that at our February meeting. That will be one of our agenda items.
And when you put that addition on, then you can get your aftercare.
We need aftercare before that.
Yes, we do.
We got close. We got some snafus in that process and see if it can happen here. Because there are people in town who said they would do it, but they don't have the building. People who worked in Alaska.
Then tell them to talk to David.
I can tell you that one of the big hiccups was actually DHS.
Was what?
DHS.
What
They
if-
wanted us to retrofit our building to
It
meet
was-
all the current.
Depending on the
requirements.
age of kids. what-
But was that because
Let's- let's-
Naomi
Fire marshal.
was doing,
Let's stick with the agenda.
okay, we'll stick with that, but I'll ask you later.
Yep.
Okay, so, any further?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you, and thank you for coming. So, information items, I just wanted to ask the question if, do we think 6:30 to 7 is long enough to workshop? I mean, I think we did pretty well tonight.
I do.
Is that,
I would try it again. I think
Okay.
it's very efficient and,
okay,
you know, I think that the chair did a good job trimming the agenda for the workshop, so it fit in the time.
don't want to be too ambitious. Okay. All right, so future meetings. Our next workshop is February 15th at 6:30, and the school committee meeting is February 15th at 7. And then in March, workshop, March 22nd at 6:30, and meeting at 7, same day. So that looks like that's everything. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
here we go.
Alrighty.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you, I think.
Thank you both.
Yes.
We do
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Are we still recording?
It's not nice to see